Hi, Eve. Thank you for your interest in American life and also my channel and asking such excellent questions. And I wanted to address the questions that you had regarding American home life and just how to look at an insurance company in general according to some of the criteria that delves a little deeper on the back end of how I look at the company. Now, a lot of the resources available to insurance brokers are not available to the consumer, unfortunately. But if if you want to get your health insurance license, you can sign up for a tool like mine here at CSG Actuarial. And just to give you an idea at the top here, this is kind of the criteria. It's not all the criteria, but some of the criteria that we use to do a quote. And that would be your zip code, your city, your age, your gender, tobacco use, your plan, your effective date when you want the policy to start. And as you change any one of these variables, all the market analytics will also change. So, for example, this is only information in I don't know how to pronounce this, Vidor, Texas, and if it was the information could be dramatically different depending on what city or state you're in. So I want to go through how to look at the company, but also keep in mind that there are some general things that I do see, and that's that if you pull up the list of carriers in your area, American Home Life tends to be towards the top. Now all the plan, see here, this is plan N. I could have done plan G, but all the coverage remains the same no matter which company offers it. So a lot of choosing the right company has to do with getting the right price. And how is the price determined, and what will the rate do? All those things need to be considered. So if we're looking at the first company here that comes up as the cheapest price, you're looking at Prosperity. And I did a video on them, or at least I did. I ranked some some carriers, and you can check that out. But they come up at the top, and they're usually pretty competitive. The SBLI, they are a company that got into the life insurance space and offer term quotes cheaper than a lot of their competitors like New York Life and Northwestern Mutual. So they're breaking onto the scene, and if you look at some of the data here, you'll see how much it should go up each year estimated due to your age, and so it's an average of 1.6%. And they did have a rate adjustment, which is different than a rate increase, where anyone that held a policy in January got a rate increase of 4% in Vidor, Texas. This is just Vidor, Texas. And if you look at the market data, well, the national data should be pretty similar no matter where you look, where it has 8,690 lives and 1,377 lives in Texas. And then it shows how much premium they collect and their loss ratio. So the loss ratio, let me explain how that works. The loss ratio is a metric used in the insurance industry to measure the percentage of losses incurred by insurance company on a claim settlement relative to the premium earned during a specific period. It is calculated as the total losses paid out in claims plus adjusted expenses divided by the premiums earned in the same period. So I'll give you an example. So if an insurance company collects $120 but pays out $60, then their their loss ratio is 50%. So the higher the loss ratio, the more that they need to pay out in claims, and the less likely that they're profitable and able to keep the rates lower. So you'll see Prosperity in the state has a loss ratio of 74.99%. So they're paying out about 75% of what they're taking in. And so one of the things I like about Prosperity actually is we're looking at the rating class here. This is a preferred rating. If you had to go through underwriting, meaning you had to answer health questions, then their standard rating would be also one of the most competitive rates. So for people who need worried about answering health questions and getting good rating, I recommend this carrier as well. Okay. And then we kind of go on down, and then American Home Life's only a dollar difference, and it's a conservative company. Again, for those that are conservative that might want to have their values aligned, and you can kind of see here how they've been performing. They haven't had any increase history in Vidor, Texas to report. They have a 2.26% over the next 4 years. You can kind of see it going up a little bit more than the other carrier. And then you can see that they are not as big. So you'd be taking a flyer on a company that's obviously collecting a lot less. But their loss ratio is 68%, so you could then, in Texas, and 76%. So they have a little bit lower loss ratio, which is good. But as you can see, both these companies have a small market share. I'm not sure how much that really adds up to 100% because... but there are a lot of companies. So there's not a lot of companies with that big of a market share. But we can kind of look at that as we kind of go down here. And all these numbers change according to the plan. So it could be maybe they sell the plan G more than plan N. And so to get into this in such detail, this is why you'd want to schedule a meeting with me, and I can do a customized screen share with you, and we can look at whatever the differences in the plans, and I can give you a report and such. This kind of gives you a general idea, but you can kind of go on and see the different carriers in this area, Allstate, and then they're not really reporting much. And then Manhattan Life, they're still only 0.16% of the market share, but they got more people on the books, and they've been relatively stable. And I did a little video on them about how they've been pretty stable. Aflac's very new. They only got 0.06% of the market share, and they've had already kind of a big increase in this area, just this area. And Cigna, they go by National Health Insurance Corporation. This is a subsidiary of Cigna, so it's not encompassing of, it's only encompassing of the subsidiary, so that's why their market share is low. And let's go on. Mutual of Omaha. Again, this looks like it's the parent company, but it's actually a subsidiary. So it's only garnering about 2% of the share here, market share. And then you can see a lot of these companies are around 75% is their loss ratio. I think we had Aflac at about 85%, so that's not as good. And then Humana, looks like they have, for this subsidiary called Achieve, they had a major rate decrease recently to be more competitive, 14.6%. So they're trying to be more competitive. As you can see, their loss ratio, though, is much higher here in this area and nationally. Aetna, same story. They're near Humana in that story. And again, this is a subsidiary, Aetna Health Insurance Company, and they garner that much share. But look at that rate increase they recently had. And then Anthem had a big increase recently, doesn't have a big market share. Humana Insurance Company. So I told you about the Achieve, right? So that's a subsidiary. And then they have another kind of their base company a little bit, a subsidiary, but one that's used more often. So it's going to have a market share a little bit higher, I think, 0.47%. Let me see what it was here, 0.5. I guess it has a bigger national, but it's just as popular in the state level. So you can see their claims is 75% for this subsidiary, and the other one was 94%. So what's the main difference between the two? Well, one of the main differences has to do with a gym membership. Cigna, remember the Cigna we saw earlier? Well, this is their standard 2 rating, and it's $156. Now, we had standard ratings with Prosperity that was much cheaper as through going through underwriting up here. So that's, you don't know what you're going to get depending on which area you live in. So if I put in a different zip code, all these numbers can be dramatically different, and it's not going to tell necessarily the same story. So that's why it's important for you to learn about what is right for you in your area, even if you might be in the same state as somebody else in a different zip code, and it's all different. So I recommend reaching out to me to kind of go over these questions in more detail that you might have regarding the financial rate increase that's or how the companies are doing in your area, and not Vito or Texas. Okay. What else? I want to show you this. So let me just oh gosh, there we go. All right, I want to show you this. This is American Home Life's portal. Okay, not to get too much into the behind the scenes of the company. I don't know exactly for compliance purposes what I'm allowed to show you, but they do have a contact page with plenty of information on how to contact them. They make themselves readily available. They're quick to respond to brokers, and their system has the functionality of Aetna. Whatever Aetna is using for their functionality, and they've been around forever, is the same portal communications as American Home Life. So all secondary plans like Plan G, Plan N, high deductible Plan G, Plan F, they all have to pay after Medicare pays. It's not a Medicare Advantage plan. And after Medicare pays, then the secondary insurance company will pay the remaining amount to your billing provider. Again, thank you for your question, Eve, and hopefully I've answered your questions well. If you'd like, you can post another comment. I appreciate that. And also you can call me on my direct line or schedule an appointment. My phone number is 617-879-9033. Thanks again for watching.